Have you heard the news? Facebook's dead. It's over. Daily active users down for Facebook. The stock crashed 20% after its earnings. I think at this point, Facebook is one of the most hated stocks. I mean, it is a fun company to hate against, right? Facebook, Mark Zuckerberg, Mr. Lizard, alien guy, robot, you know, all the jokes. But I did want to talk about my opinion on Facebook, kind of after the bloodshed that we saw after the latest earnings. What's always funny to me is after a stock has fallen down already, that's when people come out saying, I told you so, Facebook is over, Metaverse won't save it, the thing is going to zero. It's always after the fact, like they had a crystal ball and they knew exactly what the stock was going to do. Let's talk about what everyone is panicking over, and that's this number, 1.93 billion daily active users for Facebook, going down to 1.929 billion daily active users. Okay, so I was wrong, Facebook's dead, video over. But seriously, taking a step back, looking at that number and saying it out loud again, 1.9 billion active users on Facebook, the one app that everyone thinks is dead. With a world population close to 8 billion, you're talking about a quarter of the world using Facebook on a daily basis. That's an impressive number. I mean, at some point you do run into the law of large numbers where it becomes harder to grow and that growth does slow down. Of course, that's just Facebook. So if you include the family of apps, they did see a slight uptick from 2.81 to 2.82 billion daily active people. The bigger impact, in my opinion, was the outlook around that first quarter, projecting out 27 to 29 billion in revenue, which represents only around 3 to 11% year-over-year growth. This is a clear indication that these tailwinds that they continue to talk about around the Apple privacy changes does have an impact on the revenue. The other concern is that they are spending more money building out the metaverse and really trying to grow this Reality Labs revenue because most of their money is coming from advertising. Don't get me wrong, you can't blindly be bullish on the stock. You have to look at the valuation to see, is it pricing in already this slowdown in growth? After the earnings beat down, Meta Platforms is trading around $630 billion. With that, it's currently priced at a PE ratio of 16.85. I mean, we're getting into value territory to the point where Warren Buffett might start buying Meta Platforms. And it's kind of funny because I did have flashbacks to 2016 when Apple was absolutely getting shat on by investors. Warren Buffett did come in and start buying Apple. And now he looks like a genius. Of course, Apple and Meta Platforms aren't a perfect comparison, but they do have some similarities with high profit margins, a lot of free cash flow coming in, and a strong balance sheet. So let's talk about some of the positives that I see that came out of this report. An uptrend in average revenue per person. Even though the growth in users may be slowing down a bit, the average revenue per person is increasing. Not to mention that Facebook currently is a free cash flow machine. So 12 billion in the last quarter, 9 billion in the quarter before, 8 billion. I mean, 2021, they generated an insane amount of free cash flow, and this can be used to either buy back shares, invest in other companies, solidify the balance sheet. They can do anything with this free cash flow. They do have some control over their destiny. Just because of one bad quarter doesn't mean that this company is just absolutely dead in the water. From a technical standpoint, it's definitely oversold from an RSI perspective on the weekly. It's looking like it may bounce or hover around this 200-day moving average. I don't put as much emphasis on this stuff, but in terms of short term, where I think Facebook may bottom is in this lower 200 range. I mean, at some point, it does become a value stock. The compression of the multiples, unless people actually believe that Facebook will start losing revenue and actually shrink, then it's a different story. So there's two camps that you can be in. One, you think Facebook and the entire company is going to shrink in the future. It's not going to be able to turn around. The metaverse is going to fail completely. It's going to be a complete fad. They're wasting their money on all expenses. And the company somehow, even though they're generating a ton of free cash flow, they're going to kind of just stick their heads in the sand and just slowly bleed out as a company over time. And then you have the second camp, if you can't tell I'm a little biased, you have the second camp where you think maybe this is a long-term opportunity. The company can turn around, reignite growth. If you believe the metaverse is something that has a lot of potential in the future, well then getting into Facebook may make more sense as it has come down a lot from its recent highs. I mean, are you really gonna bet against this guy?
What are you guys making for dinner? Sweet Baby Ray's barbecue sauce, I hope. Delicious.
Okay, maybe I should sell everything. So what do you guys think? Do you think Facebook is dead and it's going to zero, it's screwed? Or do you think this is actually a good time to start nibbling into a position, potentially having it rebound? If you did enjoy the video, make sure to hit that like button and consider subscribing to make sure we're talking investing, stocks, anything to do with money. Thanks guys for watching and have a great day.